put it out, put you on blast, Bill Clinton, or, I don't care. Was there something was there a moment?
I actually think that he was very serious about the possibility of running 4 years ago. He was disgusted with where the country was headed. He was unimpressed with Mitt Romney. He was certainly unimpressed with Barack Obama after having high expectations. He was hopeful that Obama would be successful, as I think all Americans were. You elect a president, he promises hope and change. You hope that things will really change.
Right.
But they didn't. So I really think he got serious about this 4 years ago. I do know that a week after Romney lost, Trump went to the U.S. Trademark Office and he trademarked the phrase, "Make America Great Again." It wasn't even, the year wasn't even up yet. He told me about this on New Year's Day, 2013. That's when I knew that he would run, and I thought he would win this year.
Yeah, I mean, because he sees the inner workings and he knows. And that's what I thought it was so funny when Tim Kaine was there with the debate with Pence and he was saying, oh, do we want him? His trademark is "you're fired." And everyone was like, yeah, that's exactly what we want, is someone to go in there and drain the swamp and tell more than half of the government you're fired. We have a businessman who actually knows about the bottom line and how to, cut your losses. This doesn't work. But then on the other side, we have people that just want to grow the government more and more, even though they're having to throw trillions of dollars into this machine that is totally broken. I mean, I don't understand why people, for instance, with Bernie Sanders, yeah, I love a lot of the things that he was saying, but he was wanting to give more money and more power to this broken government system. And then now we have someone like Trump coming in and going, this is insane. At what point?
Well, he wanted to make people dependent. Bernie Sanders wants to make people dependent upon the government.
Right.
Trump wants to make you independent. That's the big difference. Trump wants you to be a small business owner. He wants you to thrive. He wants you to create. He wants you to give back to your community, provide for your family. Bernie Sanders is the kind of guy that gave a message like, this is free, that's free, we're going to give you this, we're going to give you that. Depend on us, we'll take care of you. And it's just like, and that's why we have this millennial entitled group of people.
And it works within the construct of the Democratic primary, but it wouldn't work very well in a general election.
Right.
So he knew what he was talking about within their party primary base, which is radicalized and left of center. But at the end of the day, I liked where Bernie Sanders was on war. I liked where he was on trade. And frankly, Sanders supporters, if they had any brains, would be voting for Trump today because his issue positions are closer than, say, Hillary Clinton's.
Right.
Cindy Sheehan, the anti-war activist, she says Donald Trump is better than Hillary Clinton. Jill Stein, the Green Party candidate, says Hillary Clinton's going to get you into a war. Donald Trump is preferable to Hillary Clinton. True progressives know the Clintons are not progressives in any way whatsoever. They're just crony capitalists.
Right. I mean, can you educate the people out there that maybe are still listening to this show and they haven't gone to cast their ballot yet? Talk to them out there about true liberty and what Donald Trump stands for, what that really means.
It is. It's exciting because I think Trump needs 3 out of 10 Sanders supporters to win this election, and I always thought that was a doable goal, a possible goal.
Right, especially when you're seeing articles with most Hispanics back deportation, and they want an immigration cap. They want that cut in half. They're actually saying they want less than half of what we're actually allowing in right at the present moment. So well below the Gang of Eight bill in 2013. We're also seeing black leaders to their voters saying we won't allow ourselves to be used by the Democratic Party anymore. So, I mean, it's anybody's guess right now, but they're really, the media, the left, really trying to push this narrative that they've got the black votes locked, they've got Hispanic voters locked because Trump is racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, all of the buzzwords. And people are coming out in droves saying, no, we are not your puppets. We are not, in your little pocket like you have always had us now for 50 years. We're not your little pet project anymore. Getting off the thought plantation, so to speak. I mean, there's some people out there too. Does Donald Trump speak for minorities, for all Americans?
I would like to have seen more emphasis in this campaign on his plans for economic growth in both the inner cities and in the minority community, because I think it was the key to victory. We know, looking at the polls, that African Americans have no affinity for Hillary Clinton. And those African Americans who are familiar with the 1994 crime bill, which has incarcerated an entire generation of young black men for the nonviolent crime of possession of small amounts of drugs, could not possibly vote for the Clintons. This is the bill that Hillary said was necessary to bring back black people to heel, calling them super predators. Now you add the truth of Danny Williams, because Danny Williams is the abandoned son of Bill Clinton, banished by Hillary. David Kendall, the Clinton thugs have gone to great lengths to hook up a phony DNA test to disprove that. But the courts in Arkansas will ultimately prove that Danny Williams is Bill Clinton's son. So I ask you, what kind of people discard their son like a piece of garbage? What kind of people do that? Black Lives Matter unless you're Bill Clinton's son.
Right. And I got to say, I mean, I was sitting right next to him interviewing him, and it was weird. I kept having to catch myself because it was like I would see his face and then Bill Clinton's face kind of morphing in and out. I was like, this is too trippy. It's too weird. He is your son, Bill Clinton. Take the test. Give your DNA.
I read this morning on Facebook, Danny had a posting on Facebook. I think at this point, it's impossible for him to go out in public. It's impossible for him to walk down the street. Millions and millions of people have now been exposed to his story, and hundreds of people are embracing him on the streets. It's
right.
It's really heartening.
Right. I mean, even there when he was giving his first press conference, I think that was in Las Vegas, even the reporters who were there trying to, write a hit piece on him, even they were saying, you're basing this on your appearance, which I think we can all agree you look a lot like Bill Clinton. Even they had to acknowledge, like, wow, this is uncanny. The resemblance is striking. In any other instance, well, Darren McBreen likes to point out how when all of the Danny Williams story first came about, Bill Clinton passed the deadbeat dads bill to kind of, that's what we see here with Hillary Clinton now doing it, like pointing, oh, if I'm guilty of this, well, I'm going to do the exact opposite or blame it on you. And then so Bill Clinton has this son that he's abandoned. And so what does he do? He doesn't acknowledge the son. He goes and passes some deadbeat dad bill and then moves out of Arkansas where it doesn't affect him.
And he also, interestingly enough, as president, he signs a bill which he pushed cutting aid for single mothers. So he adds insult to injury. This is not going to go away, regardless of what happens in this election. I think Danny Williams has come into his own. He's now been, I think, strengthened by hundreds of thousands of people who have contacted him through Facebook. This is an issue that will get adjudicated down the road, and I'm for justice for Danny Williams.
So, Roger, why are you in Austin today? I mean, we love having you here, but is this like the epicenter?
It's the barbecue. I might as well admit it. I just came for the barbecue. No, you know this. When Alex Jones tells you need to do something, you need to do it, and quickly. So here I am.
Wonderful. And so what do you want people to know out there about, the real polls? What's,
I was going to say, too, before you did that, we were sitting down in the other studio. We were going to go live in there and then found out you were on the way. And as I was looking on Twitter, there was the Austin Chronicle or whatever, the Austin American Statesman, the reporters who were tweeting out, oh my God, I just saw Roger Stone. He's walking downtown with a film crew. And like all these little reporters are tweeting back and forth, like talking about your movement. And I was like, yes.
It's diabolical.
Yes.
I could tell you what I'm here in Austin to do, but then we'd have to kill you.
Yes. Okay.
No, look, I'm delighted to be here because it's a great opportunity to look at these results tonight and try to analyze exactly what's happened. I am a veteran of 9 Republican presidential campaigns, 1 Libertarian presidential campaign. I do think I have a unique outlook on the system, and I'd like to be able to spot some of these early trends tonight, but it's a great opportunity, and I'm just delighted to be here. On the other hand, tomorrow I will collapse and sleep for 3 days straight.
Oh, well, we're supposed to go 52 hours, but I think we're going to charge through the night. Come on, Roger Stone.
Well, I brought 3 suits, so I'm ready. I'm in. I'm in for the long haul.
Excellent. Yeah, so the people need it. The people want to see you. They want the truth. But the thing is, will we be able to trust the mainstream media as they're feeding it out? I mean, we're going to see the polls surging for Trump, and they'll say, well, it's neck and neck. I think Hillary Clinton's going to take it. I mean, What are they going to do if there really is a Trump landslide?
Look, we're all speculating, and anything could happen tonight. I think the electorate is that volatile. Last night, I went through some of the poll numbers with Alex in states like Florida and Ohio and Michigan that are very encouraging. I would be less than truthful. I didn't tell you I'm very concerned about Nevada. I'm very concerned about New Hampshire, and I would love to see us pull off a victory in Pennsylvania, which I think is possible. But getting to 270 without Nevada and New Hampshire is very hard. So we shall see.
Yeah.
Well, Trump had the early lead in New Hampshire, right? This morning, I saw that was one of the top headlines.
I think he had the lead in both places narrowly, but I know Nevada, where you have the Harry Reid union machine, will do a good job of dragging out their vote. And we have nothing comparable. The Republican Party is virtually worthless in the state, disorganized and undermanned and very little talent. And the Trump campaign never built the kind of grassroots operation you need to compete with the unions. So it is. It's the spot that I'm most concerned about tonight.
Now, are you going to be in the studio with us all this evening, watching the results coming in? I know
that is my understanding. Yes.
Wonderful. So you'll be live, coming in hot.
Well, the last numbers come in at 1 a.m. I'll be in studio from 12 to 2. So that will be a hot time. I've got my my stogie ready just in case.
Yeah, I know. I think we're all going to be on the edge of our seats tonight. A lot of people are watching, and make sure that you turn off the TV set. Don't tune into whatever the mainstream media.
You know, a lot of people don't realize that.
Tune into INFOWars.com.
What all this stuff she's saying
Stay here
now?
with us tonight. We're going to give you the truth.
She's saying
all day long, filing reports. We'll give you live up to date on those poll numbers. Of course, we're going to be getting the expert political commentary from Roger Stone.
What were you trying to rally today for, sir?
StoneColdTruth.com. And you know it's going to be exciting. We're launching
even
more features on the live.
Oh yeah, we got a brand new app out, INFOWars Prime. You can actually go pick that up right now at
how many
INFOWars.com
people are in the Loyal White Knights here?
app, and you can get it at the Apple Store and get it at Google Play. I just downloaded it myself, and guess what? I'm even paying for my own subscription. And yes, I'm an employee here. I'm paying for my own subscription. This app gives you exclusive behind-the-scenes content. Leanne McAdoo, myself, other reporters have the ability to go live from our own cell phones. It'll notify you. You can look at all of our videos. If you like my videos, if you like her videos, Schroyer's videos, McBreen's, whatever, we'll have all of our content under our names as contributors. You'll be able to see Alex Jones go live, the show feed. You'll be able to have the radio mode as well, and just fun, cool behind-the-scenes videos that we'll all have the ability to go live with whenever we want. So I want to encourage each and every one of you to go check that out now. INFOWars Prime, brand new app just launched a couple of hours ago. I just played with it back at the my desk over there and looked around. It's really cool, works smooth, looks great. So you'll be excited.
This is just the first launch of it, I guess. The more people we get subscribed to this, we're going to add some new features, more interactive, so that the fans will be able to interact with us some more.
And another thing, too,
awesome.
With the landslide talk, stop it. Don't be discouraged by it. Everybody keeps going, well, Trump's going to win by a landslide, so I could probably stay home and not vote. No, your vote counts. We need you to vote. You know, don't hear that, oh, you know, Hillary's going to win by a landslide. Your vote doesn't count. Your vote counts. So go out there, vote, and we need to expose any kind of voter fraud, anything that's going on, problems with the machines. You know, we've seen numerous people today, their votes are switching from Clinton or from Trump to Clinton and many other candidates like that around the country. People are taking videos, taking pictures, and all that. So let's all be a part of this. Let's stop the steal. And that brings me to my next point. Let's talk about Stop the Steal, what that is, and how people can get involved with that as well here on this last day.
StopTheSteal.org was set up for the simple purpose of taking exit polls in certain carefully pre-selected districts and then comparing those actual results against the computerized voter machines in those districts. This is not poll watching. This is not designed to catch voter fraud. We are specifically interested in voter machine manipulation. The Democrats in 4 states sued us in, 6 states now, sued me personally, Donald Trump, the Republican National Committee, the Trump campaign, and Stop the Steal. So we were challenged in Arizona, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and North Carolina. We have prevailed so far in Arizona, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and I believe we're still waiting for adjudication of Michigan. By definition, if you're only speaking to voters after they've voted, it's not clear how you could be intimidating.
Exactly.
If you are not wearing paraphernalia for a candidate, because Stop the Steal are not all Republicans. We have Gary Johnson supporters. We have Jill Stein supporters. We have Libertarian Party members, Green Party members. We have Bernie Sanders supporters. This is a bipartisan volunteer effort. All we have in common is a desire for an honest election. Anybody who tells you these machines can't be hacked, that's a ridiculous idea, is wrong. They're easily hacked. And this is a stopgap. This is a fail-safe to determine whether we've had an honest election. Our web infrastructure was hacked again last night. We're having a number of technical problems today trying to field this. We are dealing with volunteers, but I'm still hopeful at the end of the night we will have something that we can compare to the machines.
Right. I mean, isn't that incredible that you would have Democrats suing you? How dare you try and maintain a free and fair election and make sure that people's votes count? I mean, that right there speaks volumes to me. The fact that there isn't an uproar about these electronic voting machines switching people's votes. And it's not like they're just arbitrarily switching the votes. It's only from Trump to Clinton, not the other way around.
And the disinformation has been extraordinary. We're sending hordes of thugs to the polls. No, we're not. We're sending men and women who volunteered. We are intimidating voters. I don't know how. You've got to stick to an agreed-to script. Anyone working for us as a volunteer signs a code of conduct. They also swear as to the authenticity and the accuracy of the data that they're turning in. So it's really simple. Sir, did you just vote? Yes, I did. Would you mind taking part in a voluntary exit poll? We don't keep track of your name. We just want to know that you voted in this precinct. No, I'd be happy to. Question 1, did you just vote? Yes, I did. Question 2, did you vote 4 years ago? Yes, I did. And then we read them the ballot, and they tell us how they vote. We tabulate it. We don't even keep their name. There is no danger to our democracy here. It's a perfectly legal process as long as it's conducted a certain number of feet from the polling places. Now, we're dealing with 50 different state laws, and we'll adjust the program. But this gets conflated into a scrum of stumble bums, I think is what Salon said. Talking Points memo, Huffington Post, they were all apoplectic. Then when the Supreme Court came out and said, no, Stone and Trump are not intimidating voters, you know what we heard? Crickets. Where are those stories?
Right.
Well, there's Salon too busy writing a story about pedophilia, and let me guess, Ryan J. Riley for Huffington Post is probably thinking that foam earbuds are rubber bullets.
No, but Christina Wilkie, she was so hot on this story when the Democrats were suing us, but now that they've been defeated in the federal courts, where is her wrap-up piece on that?
Yeah, or everyone that was just hot to trot for these alleged victims of Donald Trump who've now come out and said, I made the whole thing up. Just kidding. Crickets. Again, it's like we see that it doesn't even matter what the truth is. It's just to stir up confusion in the voters. It doesn't matter what the truth is because, people will base their opinions on what they're spoon-fed.
That latest DNC leak that came out by WikiLeaks showed them setting up these Craigslist ads, looking for women to go and do all this stuff. Within hours, WikiLeaks was being hacked. There was a DDoS attack or whatever. They were going through that for a long time, and then your guys' website's taking a hit. Anybody trying to expose what's going on, trying to make this election fair, trying to inform people, they're doing everything they can to take it. I mean, people should be awake to that.
Right.
That should make you really think of what we've had the last 8 years. Do we want a continuation of that, or we want somebody who's going to come in, break the mold, and start over again, and let's make it the way it should be.
Right.
So I distinctly hear a taco calling my name, so I will catch up with you later.
Yes, sounds very good. Yeah, we've got about just 5 minutes left before Paul Joseph Watson gets in studio. Thank you so much, Roger Stone. And we'll be seeing him a little bit later on in the evening. And myself and Joe Biggs are going to close out this segment. Paul Joseph Watson will be joining us shortly from across the pond. But very interesting, just what we're seeing here. Roger Stone makes a great point. total crickets when it's time to clarify some of the false stories, some of the misinformation that's put out there. But, you know, we saw with when Danny Williams was actually doing his press conference, there were the reporters right
Olivia
there.
Newsy of the
Daily Beast.
The Daily Beast.
Right
Like, how
there,
could you
ready
go?
to-
How could you be here? When did you just, because it's election time, you decided to come after Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton? He's like, no. I mean, I've been following this guy since I started working here because he was actually trying to get a hold of me for a while. And then for something happened, communication channels got mixed up, and it took like 2 years basically to finally get in touch with the guy. But this guy's been talking about it for a long time. He doesn't care which person becomes president. He just wants to get to know his father. He knows that's his father, his entire family, his entire life told him that. He looks like him, for Christ's sake. I mean, give the guy the opportunity to find out if it's his dad or not. I mean, why would you? I mean, what kind of sick human being are you anyways? And, you know, she claims to be this champion of Black Lives Matter
Right.
and women's rights
Well, just
and
the way
LGBT.
she
And
treated him and the way she was like immediately attacking him and almost like putting him on defense. But it's like, did you do the same thing with the women who came forward all of a sudden with Donald Trump? Or
Oh, no.
were you just ready to tell their story fair and square?
how much did you get paid to tell that story?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Hey, where were you at with that one, Olivia?
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, that was going to be actually my last question for Roger. You know, is the cat out of the bag? Have we gone too far? Or have we reached critical mass where enough people are awake that they get it, that they see what's going on, to where no matter what happens tonight, we can't go back after this? Like, I just don't feel like people are going to go back to sleep after this. What do you think?
I mean, either way, the Great Awakening has happened. We've all seen behind the curtain. We've literally witnessed a giant leak, you know, and the American people are going to want to fix it at some point in time, whether or not Hillary Clinton has the chance to steal it, much like she did from Bernie Sanders. I mean, look at the amount of people that showed up to Bernie Sanders events, the amount of people, the movement, even super older people. You know, I could see amongst the college students, but I mean, even older, elderly people were all about Bernie Sanders. She clearly stole that thing. And then we saw at the DNC on the floor, you know, day one, they're coming by and snatching everyone's Bernie Sanders signs and giving them a Stronger Together
Yes.
sign. And they're like, screw you. We're
being
going to
told to quit being ridiculous. He's lost. He's
just get on
conceded.
board. Just get on board.
Put in the noise, the noise cancelers, a big speaker above, so people on the television who are being entertained and like very loudly, Katy Perry, I'm dancing. Look over here. Don't look at all these disgruntled Bernie Sanders supporters that are booing.
Yeah.
Where they turned the lights down and had noise cancellation speakers over them, so that I mean, that's just what's so incredible to me. Just watching the difference between the DNC and the RNC is that they had entertainers there on the Democratic side, just like, watch the entertainment, don't really worry about what we're selling you, you know. That's what. And then whereas with the RNC, it was
like a
people
David Blaine
there.
magic trick.
Exactly.
You know, they've got all this flashy stuff going on. Meanwhile, his other hand that's real and not the fake ones down here, and they're, you know, is taking
Right.
something from you. That's what the DNC is. That's what Democrats are. They're magicians, and they're really good at it. And they've tricked you all for so long into thinking that what they're doing is good for you and it's in your best interest. And really, they're just taking that money from
They're
put it in their
they're
pockets.
giving you money that they've stolen out of your own wallet.
Yeah,
that you didn't
exactly.
realize you got pickpocketed.
You know,
And then it's funny because so many people will say, well, you know, Republicans must suck because they can't get any good entertainers at their party. And it's like, no, we want to hear
Donald
things that
Trump's
matter.
message alone, one man on a stage with a microphone, got more people at all his rallies. She's literally got to dig in, and probably with the money she's stolen from the Clinton Foundation, to pay these entertainers to come out and perform just so she can look like she has crowds and looks like a popular person that people like. At the end of the day, I'm sure 90% of these people are taking a large payday and they probably hate her, but that just exposed the fact that they're soulless, evil bastards. But
Right.
either way, RNC had American flags all over the place. DNC had green and black background, and it was depressing and sad and un-American. And I just don't get how people can still be confused.
Well, even when
vote for her.
she rolls out Jay-Z and Beyonce, she has 10,000 people went to that free concert with Jay-Z and Beyonce, and Donald Trump on the same night had 11,000 people show up, and it was just him. You know, he was a starring act, and most people had left the venue by the time Hillary Clinton went out and said 3 words. So, you know, it's just a drastic. If all of those people that are going to the Trump rallies actually go vote, like Big said, don't sit this one out thinking it's going to be a landslide, thinking your vote doesn't matter because you're not in a swing state. It matters. Go vote. And, you know,
Every state's a swing state. Every state counts.
Right.
Every vote matters.
well, especially now that they're shipping in people and telling people that are here illegally they can vote. No one's going to know. Every state, you're right. Every state is at risk.
And there's
now.
a brand new O'Keefe video that just came out where they're actually, it's about this pastor, this group of pastors, black pastors in Gary, Indiana, I believe, if I can remember correctly, where they say we can get people to vote. We'll tell them who to vote for. And I'm sure at some point in time today we will show that video. So.
Right. Yeah, that's the latest Project Veritas video to drop, where they're basically admitting, like, look, we just drag these people around by the nose and we tell them who to vote for. We bus them in. As long as you promise people certain goodies, like, you know, we had the Obama phone lady. I mean, it's the same thing over and over again. As long as you promise people what they need in the moment, then, you know, can I have your vote? Can I count on you? And then you see these cities like Detroit and elsewhere where the people are saying, look, we're sick and tired of being lied to and taken advantage of. And we've been Democrat run for about 100 years. And now you see these blighted cities that are going to be reinvigorated with Syrian refugees. They're not even going to help the people that are there that they've been promising for more than 100 years. Oh, we got your back. We're going to help you, you know, and then basically blaming them for why no one wants to bring jobs into their communities because it's blighted. And it's like, well, yeah, that's because you robbed us for the last century.
It's insanity.
So
Go watch Dinesh D'Souza's Hillary's America.
yes,
Like now. And
So
any of your friends who are on the field right now, anyone who's on the fence right now, have them go watch it. Go buy it. I don't care if you spend like $100, just go buy the video and show it to your friends who have no idea what's going on, who think that it's cool to go vote for her because Katy Perry's saying at the DNC negative. That's horrible. This video really exposes how the DNC, how the Democrats actually think, their mindset, and why they do what they do, and destroys a lot of the fake BS behind the Republicans and the KKK. Shows you how the DNC is behind it. It's a good film. Today's the last day to save America. You know, we've had 8 years of complete and total BS. We were promised hope and we got no change, you know?
right.
And it's time to make America great again. And I'm ready. I voted already. I did it early last week. Trump is my president. I'm proud to say it. Haven't been a closet Trump supporter. I've been very open about it. And I get into many debates when I go out all the time. I don't mind if I'm known as that guy because I'm proud as hell and I want to save America. And, you know, I got a lot of friends who like Frasier. I hate Frasier. I think it's the dumbest show in the world. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to defriend them because of that.
Right.
And it's just like you might like Hillary Clinton. I think that's the dumbest thing in the world. But guess what? I'm not going to hate you because of it.
Right.
I might
We don't need to
not
be
trust you
divided
as
even
much,
more.
but I'm not going to hate you at the end of the day. I'm not going to go have a beer with you because you like Frasier or Hillary Clinton. So with that said, let's vote Trump. Let's make America great again. Let's take our country back. And let's wear red today so everyone knows where we stand.
Everyone knows what's up. Yeah, and it's really interesting, too, that a lot of people are kind of, they were trying to push that message out there. Tell Trump America is already great. And it's like, well, then why were you running on hope and change if it was already great?
Yeah.
Sure, so.
Tank's empty. Let's refill it.
I guess we are zooming out because Paul Joseph Watson is coming in hot. I don't hear
No clue. Not hearing anything.
My fellow Americans, my fellow humans on planet Earth, there is an epic, legendary awakening of nationalism and populism happening from the Brexit to the Donald Trump phenomenon to Russia pulling out of the New World Order and arresting the bankster oligarchs. Humanity's will for self-determination and freedom is expressing itself. The great classical liberalisms of Thomas Jefferson and
expose people doing their civic duty to help their fellow citizens vote, a right of a citizen in this country, that they are taking their personal time to preserve as volunteers for the county, paid, but, you know, volunteers. They're not obligated to do this. To public attention, ridicule, and harassment. I'm not going to do it.
only, because history's happening. A 52-hour live transmission kicking off Monday, November 7th, 2016 at 11 a.m., running right through Election Day the 8th, into the night at 3 p.m. and quite frankly beyond. It's historical, and it's part of overthrowing the dinosaur media, not just overthrowing the two-party corrupt system. I want to see 10 million viewers tune in over the 50-plus hours, and that's where you come in. You are the heart and blood of the InfoWar. If you spread the link to InfoWars.com/show and point out that this is the alternative new media, this is the rebellion, this is the modern Paul Revere operation, then all of you are riding right beside us, not behind us. So spread the word, my Paul Reveres, no matter where you live in the world. To information warfare arms, the globalists are coming, and they will be met on the field. Infowars.com, powered by 1776.
Special Forces selection, it's not like you could ever take the easy road. You can't take steroids to make, being a Special Forces operator easy. I'm always looking for the best and natural way to get myself to the limits. I have to have the edge over my opponents. I believe that super male vitality, that gives me the edge. I've been taking it, and I'm still getting faster and stronger every day.
Start your journey to super male vitality today at InfoWarsLife.com. Brain Force is here. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been on this the last few months. You probably noticed I've been more crazed, more focused, less brain fog, more energy, more special reports, and it's because of Brain Force.
One of the worst things with most energy products is it's not sustainable, right? You're going to crash and going to feel really bad afterwards. This has a bunch of different antioxidants and compounds and polyphenols.
Everybody's on these drugs to knock their brain out because the brain's so fried.
We kept changing this formula over and over and over again until it became sort of a grand puzzle. For example, the L-theanine inside of it, that is activated by the different compounds in the yerba mate that we put inside of it as well. This just increases the compounds you already have.
This is what you're actually designed to run on.
Exactly.
It's kind of like a car will run on one form of junkie gas, but it runs really good on what it's designed for. You will find Brain Force, Survival Shield X2, and other game-changing products at InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.
We are back live. It's the InfoWars election special marathon broadcast, and this exit polling fiasco is just crazy right now. Basically, Drudge scooped the entire mainstream media. He got the first exit polls over half an hour ago. CNN has had a ridiculous 10-minute, 1-minute countdown. They still haven't released the results of these exit polls. Does that mean it's bad news for Hillary Clinton? Well, it doesn't really matter either way, because these exit polls have been proven inaccurate time and time again, not only with things like Brexit, but also, of course, in 2004, where they predicted that John Kerry would do a heck of a lot better than he did and would even possibly win the US presidential election, which he obviously didn't. In 2012, they were completely wrong as well. But Drudge released these exit polls as of about 30 minutes ago. Now, this isn't confirmed, and again, these exit polls either way have proven to be inaccurate, so you can't get excited about it on either side of the equation. CNN is still refusing to release them. They were supposed to release them 15 minutes ago nearly, and they're still refusing to do so. But DrudgeReport.com has Hillary up in Pennsylvania, which is where all the vote fraud and intimidation is happening, as we're going to get onto and talk about and play some videos. Trump is up in Arizona, Georgia, Iowa, North Carolina, and Ohio. Colorado, Florida, Michigan, Nevada are all showdowns, meaning that they're basically too close to call. They're tied at the moment. That is according to DrudgeReport.com, who got the leak over half an hour ago from the first exit polls. Still yet to be released by CNN. Everyone is freaking out on Twitter, saying, where are my exit polls? Where are my exit polls? They still haven't released them. Here they come. Breaking news right now. CNN is about to release these exit polls. It took them about 15 minutes to do so. They had a stupid countdown clock, which ran out about 15 minutes ago, and they still haven't released them. Drudge got them up as of 30 minutes ago again. Doesn't matter if you support Clinton or Trump, keep voting. Oftentimes, these exit polls are designed to dissuade people to go out and vote. So, if Hillary Clinton isn't doing well then you know that something's desperately wrong. But again, these exit polls have been proven wrong in the past. It's pretty safe to ignore them, to go out and keep voting anyway. Released on Drudge Report about half an hour ago, over half an hour ago, still not released on CNN. People are freaking out on Twitter. There's an absolute meltdown. This has turned into a complete circus. But again, you've got Anderson Cooper, you've got Wolf Blitz, so they keep throwing back to their commentary panel. And again, these exit polls have still not been released. We will go back to them, even though they're pretty much useless in terms of accuracy, proven so time and time again. But of course, Drudge got them out over half an hour ago. He says Hillary is up in Pennsylvania, which is no surprise given the fraud and outright intimidation that's been going on, which we've been reporting on as of the past few hours. There you see drudgereport.com. Election will be decided by evening voters. Again, if these exit polls are accurate, which I stress they've not been in the past, then it at least tells us that this whole media narrative of Hillary landslide doesn't appear to be coming to fruition. But in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania, we have reports of voter intimidation, voting machine problems, and Trump-supporting poll observers being harassed and kicked out of venues. Now, we featured these tweets up on INFOWars.com about 3 or 4 hours ago now. This is poll observer Mike Roman. The headline is Report Voter Intimidation in Philly, Trump Observers Kicked Out. Poll observer Mike Roman has been tweeting about harassment of Trump supporters all day. He also tweeted about how voting machines are, quote, not registering votes for Trump. And you can go through these tweets in this article. And again, people are talking about Trump observers simply there to observe the process, being harassed, in one case being beaten with a belt, being kicked out of polling stations there in Philadelphia. You have James O'Keefe posted a video a couple of hours ago now of these individuals being bussed around in Philadelphia, being bussed to polling stations. We've seen that over and over again. We've seen again in the James O'Keefe, the Project Veritas bombshell revelation tapes, where they admit that they do that, they carry out, they engage in voter fraud. We've got more evidence of that today. And again, as I spoke about earlier, we've got an individual in Brooklyn, in a voting station in Brooklyn, wearing a Black Lives Matter sweatshirt in direct violation of the law. It's illegal to wear any kind of political messaging or paraphernalia in many states within polling stations, in others within 10 feet or 100 feet of polling stations. That happened in Brooklyn. He's wearing a Black Lives Matter sweatshirt, obviously a political statement. The leader, the de facto leader of Black Lives Matter, DeRay McKesson, has openly endorsed Hillary Clinton. It's obvious who he sides with, and that organization as a whole doesn't side with Donald Trump. It was obvious political messaging. And again, according to eyewitnesses, this individual was intimidating Trump voters in Brooklyn. Now we're going to go to this clip. Again, I talked about these voting machines, and again, in Utah, we've got reports of these machines flipping votes, widespread problems across the state of Utah. And in Pennsylvania, we've got numerous examples of vote flipping in Pennsylvania. Let's go to the CBS News video report out of Pennsylvania. Let's go to that clip now.
For the most part, voting has been smooth and turnout has been heavy. Pennsylvania's Secretary of State says that he would not be surprised if voter turnout topped 80%.
However, there have been some scattered issues where voters are encountering problems. Rick Dayton joins us live now with what's happened at a polling place in Clinton Township, Butler County. Rick.
Christine, Stacey, turnout very heavy in Clinton Township, where people started lining up 30 minutes before the polls opened. But once they got to their machines, that's when they say the trouble started for them. Election judges confirmed there were issues with 2 of the 8 automated voting machines in the Clinton Township building. Most of the issues stemmed from people trying to vote straight party ticket. However, a number of voters told me that specifically they wanted to vote for the Republican Donald Trump, only to see their vote switched before their eyes to the Democrat Hillary Clinton.
So I went back, pressed Trump again. 3 times I did this. So then I called one of the women that were working the polls over, and she said, oh, you must be doing it wrong. She did it 3 times, and it defaulted to Hillary every time.
If somebody has an issue, they should certainly let the judge of elections at the precinct know, and also call their county bureau of elections and let them know, as folks have done here this morning.
Election judges say that many of the problems did come when people tried to vote that straight party ticket, but I had a number of people tell me they were trying to go vote by vote, race by race, only to see the candidate they selected go to somebody else. Now, they have recalibrated those machines. Election officials there in Clinton Township are confident that at this point the problem has been resolved. However, there are a number of people who told me just moments ago they're not sure that their vote went to the right person. We'll have much more on that coming up this afternoon on KDKA.
All right.
So that was a report out of CBS News. And again, numerous reports now coming out of vote flipping in Pennsylvania, people voting for Trump, Pence. Again, you see the headline there out of CBS. Voting issues. Some Trump voters reporting ballot switching to Clinton. They changed that headline earlier. It was something extremely less severe. So now they're at least starting to realize that that is a major problem there in Pennsylvania. We've also got video footage posted on Twitter, which is also up in this INFOWars.com story. Video, machine refuses to allow vote for Trump in Pennsylvania. Video footage posted on Twitter shows an African-American man attempting to vote for Donald Trump in Pennsylvania, but the voting machine refusing to select any other option than Hillary Clinton. And isn't it a surprise that in every single case that we see, you know, the explanation you normally hear, oh, this is just the idiot voter doesn't know what he's doing. The voting machine is just has a technical problem. It's just an individual example. It's always votes flipping from Republican to Democrat. It's hardly ever the other way around that you see these kind of problems. And as you see in this video, which we're playing now, he's repeatedly trying to vote for Trump, Pence. This is in Pennsylvania, again, one of these swing states that Hillary Clinton, basically, if she wins that, she's got an excellent chance of becoming president. We're seeing intimidation, we're seeing vote fraud. Throughout Pennsylvania, we're seeing people being bussed to the polls. James O'Keefe has got that on tape. And again, in this individual, he went in there, he tried to vote for Trump, Pence over and over again. The machine refused to allow him to do so. He also made the comment on Twitter, which we included in the article, I just thought about it. I didn't have to show ID to vote either. So again, bringing to light the fact that they could bus in unknown quantities of people to vote for Hillary Clinton. CBS News also reports Trump voters in Pennsylvania are seeing their votes switch to Hillary Clinton, and we played that clip before. I went back, pressed Trump again. 3 times I did this, so then I called one of the women that were working the polls over, and she said, you must be doing it wrong. She did it 3 times, and it defaulted to Hillary every single time. That was Bobby Lee Haracco, a resident there in Pennsylvania. And again, throughout Pennsylvania, especially in Philadelphia, we're seeing people being intimidated. We've got another story up on INFOWars.com, again, which shows a woman going to a polling station in Philadelphia as these exit polls still don't come in. Basically, what's happened is CNN has come out with an exit poll, and everyone thought it would give some kind of indication as to who was ahead in these different states. We'll get onto that in a moment. You see this video we're playing now, though. This is in Philadelphia. Again, a woman goes up. These 2 individuals, Hillary Clinton supporters, are handing out material with vote 1 for Democrat printed on the material. They're then claiming that they're not influencing anyone to vote for a particular candidate. Let's back that video up and play it again with the audio, because it's very interesting what they say to this woman as she approaches them. Let's get that video ready to play now, and let's go with that video. Here's the audio.
Hi. Hey, how are you doing? Can I get one of those things again?
Sure.
All you have is Hillary?
Yes, that's all I have, yeah.
Now, are you getting paid to do this?
No, nobody's not getting paid. Why you have your phone like that on me?
Well, because this is voter fraud.
No, that's not voting fraud. Did I tell you to vote for anybody?
Basically, with this, it says... No. Push button number 1.
Ma'am, let me tell you about that, okay?
Sure.
We hand out ballots. That's the law, okay? As long as we're not telling anybody to vote.
Exactly.
And you don't think this is telling him to vote when it says push button number 1?
It's not.
Take this into the paid for by the Democratic County?
You really should take a class, and then you'll learn. Okay, you're not going to come out and disrespect anybody.
I'm just asking, dude.
And I'm just letting you know, too.
All right.
I'm telling you what the law is.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you talking to me. See you later.
Bye.
So there you have it in Philadelphia. Again, he says, we're not telling anyone how to vote or to vote for a specific candidate, while handing out literature, printed material that says press 1 to vote for the Democrats, funded by the Democratic county. They claim it's not illegal because they're not telling people verbally to vote for a specific candidate, when it says on the piece of paper, which she shows on camera, press 1 to vote Democrat. And then they accuse her of disrespecting them simply for filming them with a camera. And again, all this is happening in Pennsylvania. Most of it is happening in Philadelphia. Pennsylvania state law. Quote, all persons except election officers, clerks, machine inspectors, overseers, watchers, persons in course of voting, and police officers, when permitted by the provisions of this act, must remain at least 10 feet distant from the polling place during the progress of the voting. And again, obviously, on top of that, there's laws related to you can't vouch, you can't hand out campaign material for a particular candidate. That law is blatantly being violated in Philadelphia and, in fact, throughout Pennsylvania, where we see report after report of Trump supporters being harassed, Trump observers being thrown out of polling stations when they're trying to observe the vote process, when they simply ask questions. In one example, somebody was even beaten with a belt, and some of this footage is starting to come out now. Again, you've got CBS reporting on votes being flipped in Pennsylvania from Trump to Clinton. You've got examples of that which we featured in these articles. Again, this is intimidation tactics as well. People stood outside saying, vote Democratic. Again, it's intimidating. It's pressuring people to vote for a certain party. James as they cash is a poor man's money. Say God and I say Satan. You say God and I say Satan. Say and I say Satan. Say God and I say Satan. Pennsylvania. Trump's ahead in Arizona, Georgia, Iowa, North Carolina, and Ohio. Florida, Michigan, Nevada, Colorado, too close to call. Election will be decided by evening voters. Projected vote 140 million total. Everybody's talking about a massive turnout. But again, CNN got up about 25 minutes ago now with a ridiculous countdown clock, which everybody thought on Twitter would be the exit polls showing Hillary or Trump ahead in certain states, even though these polls have been proven incorrect, inaccurate in the past. What happened was that countdown clock on CNN got to 0. Nothing happened. They chatted with these panelists for another 10, 15 minutes, and then they came out with an exit poll which says 38% want president to bring change. So these exit polls give us no clue whatsoever as to how people are actually voting in these battleground states. They're just generic surveys about how people feel. So again, more deception from the mainstream media. This is out of Politico. This just came out. Early exit poll voters anxious about Trump because he's literally Hitler, because they bought the propaganda. Voters are expressing unease about both major party presidential candidates, but greater anxiety about Donald Trump, according to Politico. Nearly 14,000 early and election day voters were asked whether around 40 different characteristics applied to Trump and Hillary Clinton. And while the results are preliminary, mainly because most of the Republicans haven't voted yet because they're at work. In fact, it's funny if you look at a map of what the electoral college map would look like if only taxpayers were allowed to vote. It's basically all red, apart from half of California and Washington state. But the top scoring attributes for Trump are stubborn, 81%, arrogant, 78%, he says what he believes. Oh my God, that's such a terrible trait, isn't it? 68%, reckless, 60%, sexist. Again, Hillary Clinton, the deplorable, sexist, misogynist, 59%, even though Hillary Clinton, 20% of her campaign is funded by Saudi Arabia, a country that still executes gay people, a country that treats women like cattle, but she's the big feminist. She's the first female president. It's historic, but Donald Trump is sexist because he said the word pussy in 2005. If he'd just taken, $25 million from Saudi Arabia, from Qatar, from these other countries that stone women to death, then he would have been called a feminist women's rights champion. Meanwhile, the most frequently cited attributes for Clinton were knowledgeable, 68%. Yeah, knowledgeable about deleting emails. Stubborn, 60%. Really stubborn. She doesn't demand people scurry off into side rooms when she walks down a corridor as she's screaming and having a fit, as basically everyone who has worked for her says. 60% say stubborn. Changes her mind, 59%. Has the right experience, has the right experience about destroying continents, about arming ISIS, has the right experience at that. Not willing to admit mistakes, 56%, and flip-flops, 56%.
Aren't you excited for the first female president?
No.
I am. Aren't you excited for the first female president?
No.
I am.
So again, we've passed that 5 p.m. EST mark. Drudge has got some exit poll results, at least some indications of what they will be, up on his front page. And as far as I know, no other major news network has, at least CNN hasn't. Again, there's all this fake news coming out. People complain about fake news, and often it's, with good reason, that people look at that and say, well, that's just CNN trying to characterize fake news as anyone who disagrees with them. But there is a lot of real fake news. There's a lot of spamming, and this exit poll situation proves that. Because this Twitter account called CNN Breaking News keeps tweeting out these exit polls, which are completely fake. And they're getting hundreds or thousands of retweets. This fake news situation is getting completely out of hand. Don't believe anything that comes out of an official news source like CNN. Don't believe it anyway, but don't believe it's even a real report unless that account is verified on Twitter. This account is not. This is not CNN. I mean, I've got people impersonating me with the exact same picture, the exact same bio. This fake news situation is getting really bad. CNN has not, to my knowledge, released any actual exit polls which show voting percentages in these different states. They've got fake exit polls being circulated, again, benefiting Trump. They're not real. And even so, exit polls are not reliable to begin with. 2004 proved that, 2012 proved that. NBC's Nadeem Comerford, and this is a real tweet, it's not fake, reports about 6 in 10 voters have an unfavorable view of Trump. He's literally Hitler. Fewer voters, but still majority, have unfavorable view of Clinton. So again, that pretty much matches with the polls before the election, which showed that both candidates had high unfavorability ratings. Trump slightly higher than Clinton because, God forbid, he said the word pussy 10 years ago. Meanwhile, Hillary destroyed a continent, takes $25 million from countries that execute gays and stone women to death. But still, Trump's the bad guy. So again, these exit polls are fake. These numbers coming out on Twitter are completely fake. Stop retweeting CNN breaking news. That is a fake account. The only real leaks that we've got so far are up on drudgereport.com. We're going to come back in a second. Let me give the call out number here. 877-789-ALEX. That's 877-789-2539. 877-789-2539. Going to go to some of your calls after the break. CNN is still promising new exit polling results. It hasn't delivered any actual exit polling results. Again, the Clinton News Network falls flat on its face, has made a complete ass out of itself live during this election coverage. We'll be back with your calls after this short break. Stay tuned.
We have the new product at InfoWarsLife.com, BioTrue Selenium.
We've had so many requests over the years for selenium, and just recently we were able to source a certified organic, bioavailable selenium from mustard seed extract. When you take selenium in the body, it actually benefits the detoxification systems in your body. It helps balance the thyroid gland. It helps detoxify.
Selenium is another one of those absolute must-haves.
The highest concentration of selenium is in the thyroid gland, but it's actually used all over the body. As a matter of fact, there's 25 genes in the body that are directly dependent upon selenium. So it really is a all-around nutrient that everybody really needs.
I'm taking it now every day. This is so key. BioTrue Selenium is the product, the best selenium that we could bring you. We believe it's the best out there at a very, very low price. Exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. We're selling a product, DNA Force, that is the very best nutraceutical that we can produce. Dr. Group, you took years for you to develop DNA Force for us.
It's been something that I've been working on for a long time, Alex, because I think it's very, very important. What the aging process is when the cell replicates, we lose a little bit of our telomeres. Telomeres are the little cups on the end of our chromosomes.
And when it runs out, you start dying.
We chose the PQQ because it has over 175 different clinical trials. It's one of the most effective substances in the world. It works like an antioxidant. It works to repair nerve growth factor.
So this is a formula to deliver the maximum amount. It's in powder form.
We have so many 5-star reviews. I take this. This is the product that I take.
InfoWarsLife.com, and the profit we make, we fight the globals. We fight the New World Order. Secure your DNA Force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. Alex Jones here to tell you about how you can help spread liberty worldwide while also enjoying what I have found to be the best tasting 100% organic coffee on the planet. For more than a decade, my favorite coffee has come from the high mountains of southern Mexico, where the Chiapas farmers grow their unique shade-grown Arabica beans. We have now managed to secure these sought-after beans in a highly customized blend. Discover and try a bag of the Patriot Blend 100% organic coffee at InfoWarsLife.com. This coffee gives you a long, smooth pick-me-up for hours without the headaches and heartburn that so many other coffees give me personally. Hands down, this is my favorite coffee, and it's taken us years to secure connections directly to the Chiapas Mexican farmers. Drop by the site today, order a bag or two, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Available in original or with our immune support infusion blend. You will be supporting a free press, all the while enjoying a truly great-tasting cup of my favorite coffee. Available at InfoWarsLife.com.
We are going to go to your calls soon. We'll continue with news for now, though. In fact, let's go to this Nigel Farage clip. Of course, we had Brexit here in the UK back in June. The polls before Brexit showed that Remain would win by at least 4%. The exit polls showed that Remain would win, and you all know what happened. In fact, Nigel Farage himself kind of half conceded before the vote was even officially announced because of what the polls were telling everybody beforehand. We know Brexit was a massive success. Vote, leave, won. Let's go to this clip. This is Nigel Farage on Fox Business.
And look who's with us now. You know this man. His name is Nigel Farage, the driving force behind the Brexit and former leader of the UK Independence Party. Nigel, can Trump pull it off just like you pulled it off of Brexit at the last minute?
Do you know, it feels just like Brexit Day to me. All the smart money, all the commentators, all the foreign exchange dealers, the bookmakers, they all think that Hillary is going to do it. And yet, even those opinion polls conducted by conventional companies who find it very difficult to reach non-voters who are entering the process, even they show it as being so close as to be within the margin of error. We did it on Brexit Day because a lot of people who don't normally vote were motivated to get down to those polling stations and to do their stuff. Trump's got it all to do. He's got to win these swing states. He's got to win, you know, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Florida. I get that. And yet, I have a feeling that the world could be in for a very big shock tomorrow morning.
You know, on that, there is Nigel Farage on Fox Business saying that he's got a Brexit feeling. We'll wait to see whether that's the case. Again, these exit polls are not actually exit polls. CNN got caught completely lying about that. Everybody's slamming them for it right now. This is up on INFOWars.com right now. Report, Reuters pulls polls showing huge Trump surge. Reuters has apparently pulled down 2 polls showing Hillary Clinton's unprecedented collapse among likely voters the night before Election Day as Donald Trump surges. This article was intended to report on the November 7 Reuters poll showing Clinton losing nearly 5 points before Election Day with Trump surging by the same amount. But the poll mysteriously vanished before this article was published. Again, they're very reticent to give you information, or they even pull polls altogether which don't fit their narrative. The article continues, after the November 7 poll was pulled, Reuters displayed a separate November 6 poll, which you can see in the article here, which still shows Trump surging Clinton's collapse, but has both running in a dead heat. However, this too was also polled not long after, likely because it didn't satisfy the powers that be, who prefer Clinton. So again, mysterious shenanigans going on with Reuters pulling polls, which showed Trump doing well. Also up on INFOWars.com right now, Donald Trump murdered in new Marilyn Manson music video because attacking somebody who the entire establishment is attacking, Hollywood, media, the political class, Wall Street, attacking them as a musician, as an artist, that's somehow edgy and cool. No, it isn't cool. It's not brave. It's not daring. It's not alternative. Again, this is something I harp on about all the time. Musicians used to say controversial stuff, okay? Saying Donald Trump's a bigot is not controversial. It's not brave. It's not edgy. It's like all these comedians, all they can do is tell lame Comedy Central style jokes about Donald Trump. Get your own frigging material. This is all designed to just ingratiate themselves with the Hollywood crowd, with the leftist liberal comedy circuit. And yes, comedians have always been left-wing pretty much, but at least they used to be daring. Sometimes, occasionally, they would go against the grain. They would dare to offend people, okay? Calling Donald Trump a bigot is not offending anyone. It's ingratiating yourselves with the very same Hollywood sewer pipe that feeds into all this crap. 90s gloom metal rock star Marilyn Manson stands over a bloodied, decapitated businessman presumed to be Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump in his latest provocative music video. And again, look at the pictures. It's obviously meant to be Donald Trump, even though he's not named directly. Again, another example of liberal tolerance. You can joke all day about the assassination of Donald Trump. Do the same about Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton. You're a dangerous, extremist, right-wing radical. You know, CNN lionizing the guy who jumped up on stage and tried to attack Donald Trump back at his rally in March. Again, a complete double standard. Timed for an Election Day release, a sneak peek video for the song Say 10 shows the shock rocker tearing pages out of a Bible while uttering demonic chants and clutching a bloodied knife. Sounds like he would fit right in at John Podesta's spirit cooking parties, doesn't it? Manson sings "Cash is the poor man's money" as he holds a blonde head and hovers over a slaughtered man in a business suit wearing a red tie. Again, complete nonsense. He said he made the video or he made the song to contribute. He needed to contribute to the confusion surrounding the election by supplying additional confusing imagery. So he said that because it's obviously bigger than just tomorrow, it's about the desperate acts of people who believe something that is preached by an unbeliever. So again, if he'd have killed Hillary Clinton as well in this music video, then fair enough. But again, it's all about playing it safe. It's not daring, edgy, or cool to attack somebody who the entire establishment is attacking, okay? That's not avant-garde. If you really want to stand out, if you really want to have principles, say something unpopular. That's what musicians, that's what counterculture icons used to do. Okay, siding with the dominant culture over and over again isn't counterculture. It's cowardly, complete intellectual cowardice. I mean, at least with someone like Morrissey, whose views I don't all agree with, he came out and supported Brexit. He doesn't care. That's not popular with his audience. He doesn't care, okay? Because he's from an era where musicians at least had to have authenticity in what they were saying. Okay, attacking Donald Trump is not edgy, cool, or daring. Get over it, move on. Now let's go to some of these callers. Let's go to Heather in California. Women voters for Trump. Heather, you're on the air. Go ahead. What are you seeing in California?
Hi, Paul. Well, actually, my husband and I dropped our ballots off a couple of days ago. There's been just rumblings around here. I wouldn't want any of us out today just to keep it safe. But I am concerned because I keep hearing, just various places. I've heard it with Stefan Molyneux, and I've heard it with various folks about, these women voters. And I just haven't experienced what everybody's talking about, because literally every woman that I've talked to is not voting for Hillary. I have friends all over the nation here, and, we're all Trump supporters. And you see them and you see their friends and their friends' friends, and I'm just not experiencing it. And what I don't understand is, with all the overwhelming attendance at all of Trump's rallies versus the lack of attendance at Hillary's rallies, I'm very confused, and I was starting out happy today, but I'm a little bit disheartened this afternoon about what I'm seeing as far as, hints and whispers about, what's actually going on at the voting booth.
No, we had that Mark Dice video, which we played earlier, again, women basically trashing Donald Trump. The polls beforehand showed that those voters, again, were going to side with Hillary in obviously significantly larger percentages than Trump, but we'll continue to track that. Thanks for the call. CNN's now reporting in one of their exit polls, which isn't really an exit poll because it doesn't tell you how people are voting. But the question they asked was, should the next president, A, continue Obama's policies, B, be more conservative, or C, be more liberal? Now, this is interesting because 29% said the next president should continue Obama's policies, i.e. Hillary Clinton. 46% said the next president should be more conservative. This is CNN's own exit poll. Only 18% said the next president should be more liberal. So again, that is a repudiation of Barack Obama, even though 54% also in this same poll said that they basically approve of him, but 46% say that the next president should be more conservative compared to just 29% who say he should continue Obama's policies. So again, that's very interesting coming out of CNN. We'll continue to track that. Let's continue with these calls. We've got Jim in Ohio who wants to talk about voter errors in Ohio. Jim, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. Actually, this morning, there's a bunch of people from third shift. We all kind of went and voted early. And this year is the first year they had those electronic voting machines. And after we looked on the side, once we realized what was going on, we realized it was those ones that Soros owns. However, what happened was there was about 55 to 60 people in here, and they had 50 voting at a time. And every single person who was trying to vote for Trump had the exact same issue where it would not record the vote. And it damn near turned into a riot. It actually suspended everybody from doing anything at all for about an hour. And so they rolled out the machines they had from last year that were the paper ballot readers because it was about to get really nasty in there.
No, I mean, that's what we've seen in Philadelphia and other areas. Again, people, Trump supporters, Trump observers being kicked out simply for asking questions. So you're saying that people were trying to vote for Trump, either they couldn't or their votes were being flipped for Hillary. And you're saying that there was basically, they were angry.
Oh, absolutely.
Correct.
Because, I mean, you know, they had already been kind of looking forward to something going on because Ohio being a big swing state. And we all know, just based on the rallies alone, that there's no way she's going to win this without stealing it. I mean, I've been to a couple of Trump rallies myself. And they, you know, our votes, you know, mattered, whether they matter to the Democratic or, you know, party or whether the government or whatever. We wanted our votes to be, you know, read and counted. And so literally they ended up having the sheriff's department that was kind of around the area. And they came in and they were, I mean, people were pretty irate because they were kind of getting a runaround for a little while. And they were basically threatening to go ahead and send everybody outside, not let them vote. But like I said, they suspended it for about an hour. They went and got the old machines they had from last year with the paper ballots that they had as a quote-unquote standby. And that's how we did it. But we had to wait for a good hour before we could even vote.
That's an extremely interesting report. That's Jim in Ohio. Thanks for the call. And again, Nevada, we had them adding people to the back of the line after the cutoff point. That's why Trump filed that lawsuit there in Nevada. We've got all these shenanigans with the voting machines in Pennsylvania. And now Jim in Ohio says that there was basically a near riot because Trump supporters were having problems, either couldn't vote for Trump or their votes were being flipped for Hillary. Police came, tried to basically disenfranchise people, and they had to wait an hour before they were able to vote. Very interesting report from Jim in Ohio. Another CNN exit poll, which isn't really an exit poll, but we'll talk about it anyway. Feelings about the federal government. Okay, they asked people how they felt about the federal government. Enthusiastic, 6%. Satisfied, 24%. Dissatisfied, 46%. Angry, 23%. So you combine those two, you've got 69% of Americans who are either dissatisfied or angry with the federal government. That doesn't seem to favor Hillary Clinton, does it? So again, this is all coming out of the CNN exit polls, which also said that white voters were down 4% on 2012. Of course, some of that is going to be in line with demographic changes, but some of it isn't. That doesn't look great for Trump. But again, dissatisfaction with the federal government is definitely an issue with people voting in this election. Let's go to another call. Wes in Oklahoma, you're on the air. Go ahead, Wes.
Yeah, it's been an interesting day today. I've been watching every little bit that I can, and it's unbelievable the way this computerized world is really getting twisted up over this election and stuff. And it's just unbelievable that we used to be able to get our vote done in less than 24 hours years ago without computers and stuff. And I just think this computerized world is getting really too messed up for us. It just makes you wonder what you're going to do next in this world.
Well, of course, it makes it so much easier to hack. We know we've had Bev Harris on. We've documented that at length. And we've got the videos coming out today. People repeatedly trying to vote for Trump. It flips to Clinton. And people say, oh, it's just the idiot voter, doesn't know what he's doing. Well, why is it always flipping from Republican to Democrat? Why on these videos is it never the other way around? That's very interesting, isn't it? Let's go to another call now. As the first polls close in about 14 minutes, 55 seconds, of course, those aren't going to be a great indicator, but the first polls do close in about 15 minutes. Next caller is Dennis in Ontario. Go ahead, Dennis. You're on the air.
Oh, how's it going?
Good. What's on your mind today?
Well, first I want to say thank you for, your work on INFOWars. I've been watching, a couple of years now, and this is my second call. And I'm calling in from Canada now, even though, I'm obviously Canadian and everything, but I've gotten a bunch of my friends to follow INFOWars and the entire election and everything. And obviously a lot of people actually follow the election in Canada as well because of Canada's dependence on America's a little more than you'd really think. And it really, as we can see, it seems pretty blight right now regarding the election, thanks to, as you said, electronic booth manipulation, the busing of people to the voting stations, the pathetic endorsements like with LeBron James and the performance of Jay-Z and Beyonce and whatever. We know in a perfect world, as Mark Dice said earlier, that Trump would win in a historically large landslide, but obviously such is not the case. So anyway, I want to ask, what do you really think would happen if Hillary gets elected? Because I know that Trump has helped popularize the anti-globalist and anti-elitist movement even further. So I'm wondering what might happen. Like, I've been thinking a quick impeachment, such as what was seen with Nixon's reelection, might happen because Hillary's, she's been facing so much scrutiny recently that she'll be, it'll be impossible for her to actually govern in public, or perhaps another 4 terrible years of Clinton presidency. So what do you think?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, there are two aspects to it, and these are both in play before we even get to January, which, as you said, we've still got the FBI investigation into the Clinton Foundation. We've still got the questions surrounding her email scandal. That investigation has not been closed. Obviously, Comey came out again, said they hadn't found any additional material, which was damning, but it's still not been closed. So we've got the investigation. Could she be up for charges before the inauguration? There's another angle to it, which is her physical health. We saw the video last night. She's walking down the plane, the campaign plane. She has one hand on the handrail. Bill Clinton rushes down behind her to prop her up on the other side. Even when she's not walking downstairs, she can basically has problems walking on concrete on a flat level. At this point, she's got ridiculous wonky eyes that are going all over the place. People are afraid of using flash photography around her. She's in very, very poor health. They were caught lying about it. Obviously, they've had her hopped up on whatever combination for the past couple of months. That was a massively damaging thing in terms of her poll numbers when it was revealed that basically the conspiracy theorists were right and she was in very sick health. So those are the two pertinent questions before we even get to January. Is she going to be under charge, or is she going to be physically unfit to take office as president? In terms of afterwards, if she actually gets in, this is a woman who has promised to use military assets against Russia if they're so much as suspected as being involved in a cyber attack. This is a woman who wants a no-fly zone over Syria to protect the same ISIS/jihadist rebels that she funded and armed in the first place. A no-fly zone over Syria, as the Joint Chiefs have said, means war with Russia. She wants war with Russia on two fronts. That's going to be incredibly harmful to Russian-American relations. It's going to put the world in peril. You've got Russia. They've got designs on these Baltic states. They're moving troops towards them. They're being encircled. Again, you've got Putin coming out and saying, what the hell are you doing? You're risking not only a new Cold War that's already taking place, you're risking World War III. We've got Russian TV stations telling their citizens where the nearest nuclear bunkers are. This is serious business. This is a candidate who voted for the Iraq War. This is a candidate who voted to destroy the government of Libya. The entire overarching system that was protecting Europe from that influx of migrants from Africa. She completely demolished that. And now look at what's happening in Calais. Look at what's happening in Paris, where it's basically an open-air migrant camp. You've got people on the street. Look at what's happening in Germany. Look at what's happening in Sweden. Mass rapes, terror attacks. They're now talking about giving ISIS members benefits, jobs, welfare. She's completely wrecked Europe. She says that her idol is Angela Merkel, who has completely ruined Germany. This is a very dangerous woman. Before she even took office in the White House, if that's what the situation is to be, she basically destroyed a continent. She destroyed Libya. She destroyed Syria. She's put Europe in absolute peril, or at least Western Europe. Of course, we know countries like Hungary, countries in Eastern Europe are trying to oppose this agenda. but she's destroyed the Middle East, she's destroyed Libya, she's destroyed Syria, she's put Europe at risk, she wants war with Russia. She said in the past she wants war with Iran. This is a dangerous, dangerous individual, a cackling, sociopathic witch, who everyone who works with her says that she's completely maniacal, completely obsessed with power. You saw the interview with Assange. She said her lust, her ambition has completely eaten her out from the inside. That's manifested itself in her physical illness. This is somebody who's going to be way worse than Barack Obama, even potentially worse than George W. Bush, given that all the neocons who supported him are going to be back in control. All this never Trump crowd that supported her are going to be back in control. And it's going to be hell for 4 years if she gets in. I mean, that's virtually guaranteed at this point. These exit polls are saying different things. We're seeing massive anger, resentment with the federal government, but we're also seeing, and again, take it with a pinch of salt because they've been proven spectacularly wrong in the past, we're also seeing only 70% white voter turnout, which is not good for Trump. But again, on the flip side, massive anger with the federal government. So we'll see. We won't know for about 3 hours or 4 hours. We won't really get a solid indication as to how this is going. As Drudge said up on drudgereport.com, the election will be decided by evening voters. Let's go to another call here. Robert in Oregon, you want to talk about the James O'Keefe video. Robert, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Go ahead.
Great. Yeah, one thing, I've been trying to get hold of you guys for a day now, and maybe it's too late, but I just remember him talking about how, the jig was a little bit up on the buses, and they were going to start using, he mentioned auto auctions, like wholesale car auctions, and that would be much harder to trace people coming in those cars. But there are things you can look for. There's like barcodes on all these cars. Usually they're in the auction, unless they take them all off, and they'll have like the VIN number of the car and usually the mileage too. So, I mean, if people see something like that at some of these voting areas, I mean, that's definitely probably something suspicious. And I would just advise people to look out for that, definitely. I mean, there's usually in a city, there's no more than maybe 3 to 5 auto auctions. So, I mean, if there's even people able to go to some of these auctions and see if there's maybe the buses are coming there and then they're loading people in the cars. I don't know. It's just something I keep thinking about. Anyway.
Well, I mean, O'Keefe's got it on video today. I think it's people from churches who are using their vehicles to transport people to vote, to bus people in. Again, we know they've bragged about using that as a tactic of vote fraud in the past. We know that Trump has filed a lawsuit in Nevada about them adding people to the back of the voting line after the deadline, which again suggests that, this might not be over tonight or tomorrow. We know back in 2004, obviously, it took a day or so for it to be ironed out. Back in 2000, it took over a month, so this could not be over, and we'll continue to track it. We're going to wrap up shortly. I just want to direct you to INFOWarsStore.com at the end of this broadcast. This is the 52-hour live election broadcast. And we've launched a number of super sales at InfoWarsStore.com to help fund the fight against election rigging. These unprecedented super sales are now live on InfoWarsLife.com and InfoWarsStore.com for the next 52 hours. You buying the products has enabled us to build this platform. We could not have done it without you. We're not funded by George Soros to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars like Black Lives Matter. We're not funded by giant pharmaceutical companies. We're not funded like CNN is by corrupt dictatorships in the Middle East like Bahrain to spout their propaganda for them. We're funded by you. We're only beholden to you. That's why you trust us. We make mistakes, but at least we try to be impartial. We're not beholden to any kind of political party agenda whatsoever. We follow the truth as best we can. We have these specials at InfoWarsLife.com and InfoWarsStore.com. 30% off Super Male Vitality, 30% off DNA Force, 30 to 40% off InfoWars Select Storable Food, 30% off Survival Shield X2. Again, free shipping store-wide, massive savings at InfoWarsStore.com, 15% off all Molon Larbe apparel. the great T-shirts. We're bringing the fight to Hillary and the globalists like never before. It's thanks to you and your support that we're winning the info war. And that's not just a cliche. I was here over a decade ago where it was basically a handful of people running this entire operation. Less than you could count on the fingers of one hand. Now look at it. What was it? 172 on Alexa or on Quantcast? 172 in terms of worldwide websites. We're 172 out of all the news media organizations, all the celebrity entertainment websites, all the sports websites, everything. Infowars.com, now at 171, as you can see there, on Quantcast. And that's because of you. It's not because of George Soros funding or Saudi Arabian money like Hillary Clinton's campaign. That's because of you buying these products, spreading the word, supporting us, sharing the YouTube videos, sharing the articles at InfoWarsStore.com, buying the products, of course. This 52-hour live election broadcast will continue. The first polls close in 3 minutes. Stay tuned. Early indications coming up. We're going to talk about what the exit polls tell us, if they tell us anything. 52-hour live election broadcast, Infowars.com for the latest breaking news. That's going to wrap it up, but stay tuned for more. We'll be back after this.
Special forces selection. It's not like you could ever take the easy road. You can't take steroids to make, being a special forces operator easy. I'm always looking for the best and natural way to get myself to the limits. I have to have the edge over my opponents. I believe that super male vitality, that gives me the edge. I've been taking it, and I'm still getting faster and stronger every day.
Start your journey to super male vitality today at InfoWarsLife.com.
Decades of lies, cover-ups, and scandal have finally caught up with Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton is under FBI investigation again after her emails were found on pervert Anthony Weiner's laptop. Think about that. America's most sensitive secrets, unlawfully sent, received, and exposed by Hillary Clinton, her staff, and Anthony Weiner. Hillary cannot lead a nation while crippled by a criminal investigation. Hillary Clinton, unfit to serve.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Alex Jones here to tell you about how you can help spread liberty worldwide while also enjoying what I have found to be the best tasting 100% organic coffee on the planet. For more than a decade, my favorite coffee has come from the high mountains of southern Mexico, where the Chiapas farmers grow their unique shade-grown Arabica beans. We have now managed to secure these sought-after beans in a highly customized blend. Discover and try a bag of the Patriot Blend 100% organic coffee at InfoWarsLife.com. This coffee gives you a long, smooth pick-me-up for hours without the headaches and heartburn that so many other coffees give me personally. Hands down, this is my favorite coffee, and it's taken us years to secure connections directly to the Chiapas Mexican farmers. Drop by the site today, order a bag or two, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Available in original or with our immune support infusion blend. You will be supporting a free press, all the while enjoying a truly great-tasting cup of my favorite coffee. Available at InfoWarsLife.com. Clean, pure drinking water. You can't survive without it. But where do you get it? Alexa Pure Pro is a brand new, groundbreaking, gravity-fed water filtration system that is like no other. The Alexa Pure Pro transforms water from virtually any fresh source into clean, healthy drinking water, pairing the unprecedented superfiltration power of an all-new gravity block core with a hybrid chromatic shell. It removes up to 99.999% of impurities, including bacteria, viruses, fluoride, disinfectants, volatile organic contaminants, and hormones. Filter capacity up to 5,000 gallons. Stainless steel construction. Easy assembly. Low maintenance. Replacement filters are simple to install. And now, as part of an exclusive limited time introductory offer, you can save $20 off the retail price and get free shipping. This is a limited time offer, so order your unit today and receive free shipping and $20 off. Go to InfoWarsStore.com or call 888-253-3139.
Our movement is about replacing a failed and corrupt political establishment with a new government controlled by you, the American people. The establishment has trillions of dollars at stake in this election. For those who control the levers of power in Washington and for the global special interest, they partner with these people that don't have your good in mind. The political establishment that is trying to stop us is the same group responsible for our disastrous trade deals, massive illegal immigration, and economic and foreign policies that have bled our country dry. The political establishment has brought about the destruction of our factories and our jobs as they flee to Mexico, China, and other countries all around the world. It's a global power structure that is responsible for the economic decisions that have robbed our working class, stripped our country of its wealth, and put that money into the pockets of a handful of large corporations and political entities. The only thing that can stop this corrupt machine is you. The only force strong enough to save our country is us. The only people brave enough to vote out this corrupt establishment is you, the American people. I'm doing this for the people and for the movement, and we will take back this country for you, and we will make America great again.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
All right, we've got breaking news right now. This is at the top of Drudge. The federal government is on high alert. Cyber centers at the Department of Homeland Security, the Pentagon, and the Justice Department, as well as the FBI and the CIA, are preparing for what they say is a possible cyber attack by Russia today to throw the election for Donald Trump or to stop the U.S. election from happening if it looks like Hillary Clinton is stealing it. NBC News reports that all hands are on deck to protect the election from a Russian hack attack.
At 6 this morning, a high-level intelligence official told NBC News preparations and nerves are at the frenzy level as the federal government gears up to protect the country on election eve. This morning, former NATO commander Admiral James Stavridis discussed the type of Russian threat he was concerned about.
There's maybe a 1 in 3 chance of this happening.
And they are so concerned right now that they literally have hundreds of military and intelligence cyber experts who are working out of top secret facilities and underground bunkers to protect the nation. Well, not only protect the nation from a cyber attack, but get this, they are ready, the U.S. government that is, to retaliate and respond to any hack attack by launching our own cyber attack against Russia. This, my friends, is very, very dangerous.
NBC News has learned exclusively that the United States is poised for an unprecedented retaliatory assault against Russia in response to its interference in the U.S. election.
The CIA is in the initial phase of a wide-ranging cyber retaliation designed to be both clandestine and embarrassing. The target, the Kremlin leadership, particularly Vladimir Putin.
And don't forget, it was Hillary Clinton just a couple of months ago during the presidential campaign who said that as president, she would respond to any Russian hack attack with military force.
As president, I will make it clear that the United States will treat cyber attacks just like any other attack. We will be ready with serious political, economic, and military responses.
Now, the U.S. government cyber force says there are limits to what they could do to protect American servers, but they have made one thing perfectly clear. Any hack attack by the Russians will be met with a counterattack by the U.S. government. I'm Darren McBreen, and you can see more reports right now at INFOWars.com.
right, David Knight here with Darren McBreen, and I wanted Darren to come into the studio to underscore that this is not a fabricated news piece that he just did. You know, from time to time, and of course, Darren did that wonderful piece where he took what Hillary Clinton was saying about cybersecurity being the trigger for a nuclear war, and he ran that out as a, look, here's a possible scenario, just so you think about that. And so we do that from time to time, but what he was doing there was playing a report from NBC News and from the debate meister himself, Lester Holt.
Lester Holt.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we are now in hour 31. We're going to talk about this in just a moment here with Darren McBreen. Again, I'm David Knight. This is part of our 52-hour live broadcast. Today, November 8th, 2016, is an historic day. This is something that has been building for a long time. We had an article off the Drudge Report. Carl Bernstein says Trump wins if the alternative universe of Drudge is right. He says, Carl Bernstein of the Watergate issue, and it's been a long time, Carl, I know. It's been a long time for me, too. He said the alternative universe of Drudge, the alt-right, the different press and social media that we've seen almost dominate? No, they have dominated. Okay, he says, to some extent, a big part of the electorate is a wholly new phenomenon. This is what I said earlier today when I put out the report that's up on Alex Jones's channel. Important message of the first votes of 2016. We looked at the first votes out of these small towns in New Hampshire, and I pointed out that 24 years ago, Darren, in Dixville Notch,
that's right,
we had Andre Maru, the guy who had been Ron Paul's vice presidential candidate, running as a libertarian candidate. They did it as a test case. They said, how can we break through the mainstream media's lock? Well, what they did was they gave a magazine. At that time, that was 1992. Remember, the Monica Lewinsky scandal was going on like 1995 through 1997. It didn't really break into the mainstream with Matt Drudge. It's one of the things that put Matt Drudge on the map. Of course, that was the beginning of the internet, the beginning of Drudge.
But these guys got a free subscription to a magazine.
Free subscription. That's the only way they could break through the mainstream media's lock on information. And once they did that, and they gave that free subscription of a libertarian magazine to all the people in the small town of Dixville Notch, Andre Maru, the libertarian candidate, won. And when I saw that, I said, boy, that is a powerful thing. If we could just break through the lock on information, that's what has happened 24 years later. And it took the alternative media, it took the Drudge Report, it took the internet, and it took a candidate like Donald Trump to do it, but it's happening.
Because that's what we're seeing. I mean, this is truly Hillary Clinton and the establishment plus the establishment media versus Donald Trump and social media. That's what this is all about.
That's true.
And I think that we are winning.
Yeah, that's true. And Bernstein thinks so as well. Bernstein says Drudge is really a great new factor in this election in terms of media. He said, and I would say a large measure of what Donald Trump is, that he goes the nominee, goes to Matt Drudge in much the same way that Fox has when you use the word kingmaker. I'm not sure it goes quite far that way, but it is an influence unequaled, and that is absolutely true. Well, we hope that Donald Trump is not going to be a king, but we hope that he will be a president later today. But let's talk, Darren, about this amazing report from NBC News. Lester Holt putting this out. That is precisely what you were concerned about when you did the piece. And now they've got the military on high alert because they said, hey, we might get hacked by the Russians, so we have to be ready to respond militarily.
They've got military and cyber experts and underground bunkers right now, David. And the thing that we're really concerned about, ladies and gentlemen, we don't believe that Russia is actually going to meddle in our elections and try to launch a cyber attack. What we're afraid of is, let's say they sense that Donald Trump is starting to take the lead and it looks like Donald Trump is the winner. Don't think for a moment that the establishment wouldn't launch a false flag attack. They would blame Russia for a cyber attack, and they have said repeatedly that we will launch a counterattack, so our own cyber attack against Russia, and that is very, very dangerous because Russia's not going to just lay down and take it.
Absolutely. And how do we know? We have to just take their word for it, don't we? They tell us, hey, there's...
And they'll be backed by the media. Trust me, though. The media will be right there and telling everybody that Russia is trying to interrupt our electoral process.
Just as they have pronounced that, hey, it's a known fact that the Russians put out all these emails. It isn't. We've had Julian Assange. We've had other sources, Steve Pachinik, but most importantly, William Binney, saying from a very early standpoint, no, this is the NSA. They're very concerned about the multiple felonies, the complete shutdown and violation of our national security laws and our national security by Hillary Clinton. They're upset about that. They're exposing this criminal cabal through these various leaks, and so they don't believe that it's the Russians. And all we've got in terms of proof is they say, well, the Russians have the capability to do that, and they have the motive to do that. And I was like, they're not the only ones that have the capability and motive to do that.
What's funny, and I've already read the comments on Facebook. Oh, come on, you guys are fear-mongering. This is fear-mongering. Come on, INFOWars. Look, man, this was NBC, okay? This was Lester Holt. I'm not the guy in an underground bunker right now preparing for a cyber attack against Russia. I'm not an intelligence agent that's on NBC saying that there's a 1 in 3 chance that Russia will launch a cyber attack against the U.S. Look, this is what the mainstream is saying, so we got to take it very serious, and it's possible that we could be seeing it this evening. Let's hope not.
And the reason you did that piece was because it was an unconscionable escalation for Hillary Clinton to say, look, we are going to respond to cyber attacks with military attacks. Yeah, that was absolutely incredible. Outrageous that she would say that. Hillary Clinton, as Julian Assange said, we know that she is a warmonger. We know that she hates free speech. Those are two things that we know about her.
She's supported by the neocons.
Exactly.
She's no different than Bush, and just she's part of the military-industrial complex.
Julian Assange says, we don't know what Trump is going to be, but we do know what Hillary Clinton is going to be. Very dangerous. We don't want war. We don't want the First Amendment shut down. And Jill Stein came out, remember this report from last week, agrees with Donald Trump and says Hillary Clinton presidency means nuclear war, a, quote, mushroom cloud waiting to happen.
And that's what the Russian government believes as well.
Yeah.
Look, Donald Trump is a true diplomat. He gets along with people, and there's nothing wrong, ladies and gentlemen, with getting along with Vladimir Putin.
Don't you remember when we had détente? Okay, everybody was talking about, look, an easing of relations between the U.S. and Russia. That was a good thing. Why is that not a good thing today? Okay, we're supposed to kick sand in their face. We're supposed to be aggressive. We're supposed to overthrow governments in Syria. And as I was pointing out when I was on the radio yesterday, that NPR piece that I heard in Raleigh, North Carolina, they're talking to a couple of people. They said, look, we're Christians. We typically vote for a pro-life candidate. But my husband is a copyright lawyer that works with foreign companies. It's like, oh, I know what's coming. They're going to try to rationalize a way to vote for Hillary Clinton, to rationalize away their ethic and moral concerns. And that's precisely what they did. Yeah, that's precisely what this couple did. So NPR goes and finds this couple in Wake County, and they talk about how, look, being pro-life means that you're going to support these refugees coming out of Syria. And I'm screaming at the radio saying, who created the refugees? Who turned this place into a bloody mess with Aleppo boy? It was Hillary Clinton who created ISIS.
You scream at the radio? I thought I was the only one.
That's right. I'm screaming through your radio now if you're listening. Look, let's take a look at, let's switch here a little bit. There's a article that's up on the Drudge Report. Dying to vote. This is out of Colorado, a CBS investigation. We go from NBC now to CBS. They're saying the same sorts of things that we've said. Finds a woman who's been charged with casting her dead father's ballot. I looked at this and I reported this 4 years ago in North Carolina. My brother-in-law's friend went to vote. And of course, in North Carolina, you're not allowed to have voter ID. That would be racist, okay, to have voter IDs. That would intimidate voters. So he goes to vote. He gives them, all you have to do is give them a name and an address. And they look at it and they say, you've already voted. So is somebody else at your house. And he goes, well, that's my mom. She's been dead for a couple of years. Well, she voted. Okay, so you got this situation where this is a little bit closer to home. But, you know, I look at what's happening in Virginia with Terry McAuliffe. Terry McAuliffe has gone in Virginia and, like the felon and the Clinton crony that he is, he was given felons the right to vote, and he just did it as a massive sweep. And
wasn't
they came
like
back
60,000 or something ridiculous.
The judge said you can't do that. You can't do that with one stroke of the pen. You're going to have to do this person by person. You're going to have to issue a letter for each one of these individuals.
He did a blanket signature.
Well, what he did was he had a form letter. They started printing these things out en masse on the computers. He put it down on an Autobot signing machine, and he robo-signed these things, okay? Because, you know, why not? Why not have felons voting in Virginia? We got a felon who's running for president, right? I mean, it's
Makes sense now, all right?
Exactly.
And this was just a couple of days ago, so this is a last-ditch effort.
Yeah, absolutely,
Unbelievable.
absolutely. But speaking of the dead, got Darren in here.
Bring out your dead. Bring out your dead.
You know, Janet Reno died yesterday, and I'm sorry, but you're not going to see any tears on my part here. I actually did a remembrance of Janet Reno. You can see it on our channel. It's called The Butcher of Waco, Dead at Last. But Darren put, and of course his Twitter handle is Media Rival. He put out a funny meme here, I thought. Donald Trump will never be president. It's a picture of Janet Reno. It says, Donald Trump will never be president in my lifetime. Janet Reno. And it gives her birth date and the date that she died, which was yesterday. And so I retweeted that on my Twitter handle.
Too soon? No, it's not too soon.
Yeah, he says, is it too soon? I said, absolutely not. And I said, Janet Reno, quote, Trump will be president over my dead body. And I said, let's hope so. And I said, seriously, even though Janet Reno died yesterday, I wonder who she's voting for today, because she is a Florida Democrat after all, right? And it's very important to get out that dead vote in Florida for the Democrats. You know, when we're looking at this, and I've got something I want to show you, because we looked at this alternative universe. You know, Carl Bernstein says we're in an alternative universe, and truly we are. When we look at the strange things that have happened, we look at the way things have happened, it's not just the fact that we have a massive sea change in the way people are able to get their information. The fact that they can talk to each other. They have, essentially now with social media, you have what they had in the American Revolution. They called it committees of correspondence. They would pass information to each other through letters and so forth. Now we can do that very rapidly with social media. Things can go very quickly. We can communicate with millions of people, and that's the way Trump has been able to get around the media.
If it wasn't for social media, we'd be looking at the traditional left versus right false paradigm.
Yeah,
there would be somebody else. It'd be Jeb Bush right now against Hillary Clinton.
Oh, absolutely.
If it wasn't for social media.
Absolutely, but we still have a lot of work to do. Because we still have the rise of the machines, the rise of the voting machines. And, there was this article that came out a couple of days ago. Elon Musk is talking about what we've been talking about. Look, he said, the robots are going to take your jobs. All you humans, you're not going to have jobs. There'll just be a few people like Elon Musk who get to do what they wish. The rest of us will be living in an Agenda 21 reservation, like they did to the American Indians about 150 years ago. Okay, that's what they did to the American Indians. They put them on a reservation, they contained them on a reservation. They said, you're not going to be able to work. We'll just give you a handout. That's incredibly oppressive. Look at what has happened to the American Indians. And then they went into the inner cities and they did it to the poor, to the blacks in the inner cities. Now they're going to do it for everybody. That's what Agenda 21 is about. That's what these self-driving cars are about. And so, we've got a future that really doesn't need us. We've got these machines, and of course, not just cars, but we've got self-voting machines.
Oh.
Right? Why not just have self-voting machines? I saw this thing. I'm going to play this for you. It's pretty funny. It was from The Onion, actually 8 years ago. And how prescient this was, and how strange it is that here we are today, 8 years later, and this is essentially what we're looking at, a combination of the rise of the machines and the corruption that comes with electronic voting. Let's play a little bit of this, The Onion. And here's their thing, war for the White House. They put this out. This is their fake news broadcast 8 years ago.
Let's get you up to speed on what is shaping up to be the political upset of the century. Though we are still waiting on a few districts in Ohio to report. Currently, Sequoia Voting Systems machine number DRE 700, serial number 34491, leads both Barack Obama and John McCain with 259 electoral votes.
So the voting machine makes itself president.
It looks like a voting machine is on track to become the next president of the United States.
A combination of voting fraud and the rise of the machines.
Bunker is Onion News Network reporter Jane Carmichael and senior election analyst Arnold Renfrew. Jane, how did the DRE 700 pull off this upset?
Andrea, the DRE 700 is running extremely strong in districts that use electronic voting machines, where it has captured an incredible 100% of the vote.
Really?
In rural districts, ones that use paper ballots or lever machines, the DRE 700 is getting no votes at all.
Arnold, why do you think that is?
Well, Andrea, I think the people who have used electronic voting machines before are just more comfortable with the idea of having one as their president.
If you've never used a voting machine, you might be hesitant to vote for one.
Exactly, but in broader terms...
All right, we'll cut it there. And they come back after that, and they put out a message from the electronic voting machine as it secures the electoral college vote. And the message that comes out is, prepare to bow to my will, which is what I expect Hillary Clinton to say in her acceptance speech if she wins tonight.
Absolutely. I was just thinking but the mainstream media, predictably, they have yet to talk about the voting fraud that's taking place all throughout the nation right now. I mean, we're talking just a couple weeks ago in the early voting in Texas, just right here in Texas, we saw Hillary Clinton, or rather Donald Trump votes that were magically flipped to Hillary Clinton.
And that's happening now in Pennsylvania, I think is where that's happening. That we've got articles at INFOWars.com. Yeah, video machine refuses to allow vote for Trump in Pennsylvania. That's a Paul Joseph Watson story. And then we've got other fraud that is happening in Philadelphia. Voter fraud caught on tape in Philadelphia. That's a key thing. They go to one city that's going to be key. They can flip that city. They can flip the state.
It's the swing states. It's absolutely the swing states is their target. Look, Joe Biggs and I, we're going to be on this evening at 12 o'clock midnight till 2 a.m. And I got two songs picked out. I've got Celebration by Kool and the Gang, and the other one is Taps.
Just in case.
I just hope it's Kool and the Gang. So I don't know, Dave. This is like my favorite team is in the Super Bowl. Beyond that, I'm extremely nervous. I'm excited. Do you think that there's a possible chance? Do you think we might take this one?
I absolutely do. I absolutely do. There's also a possibility that the election will be rigged.
Well, we know that that's the only way Hillary Clinton could win this. It has to be through massive voter fraud. Otherwise, she doesn't have a chance.
And let me tell you why I believe that, Darren, is because when I look at the situation out of North Carolina, and I did another report that's up on the Alex Jones channel. That's black vote is going to be the downfall, or actually going to bring down Hillary Clinton. I talk about the metrics that we see coming out of North Carolina. And we see, of course, 538, who yesterday was saying that Hillary Clinton had a 53.6 chance of winning in North Carolina. Now he's doubled down on that and increased it today to 55.5%. I just don't see it. At the same time, we see this article out of Breitbart where Nate Silver, the guy at 538, says the 2016 polls are less reliable than prior years. Actually, it's Nate Silver who is less reliable than previous years because he's not modeling this scientifically. He is not accounting for the sea change that has happened in terms of screening for unlikely voters, okay?
Also, this is not Hillary Clinton versus a Republican. This is Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump.
Versus an independent.
Absolutely.
Donald Trump is an independent.
He's not an establishment. He's anti-establishment.
Yes. What people need to understand, and I'm hopeful. I haven't heard anybody say they think that Minnesota is going to go for Donald Trump, but we've got that statewide high school poll. 77,000 students in high school, and they selected Donald Trump in Minnesota.
And they usually vote just like their parents, right? I mean, it's pretty accurate, even though it's just a high school.
Well, we got these other polls that they tell us are scientific, and they tell us that it's got a margin of error of 4 points, and yet we see them spread apart far more than 4 points. They look at 500 or 600 people to get a margin of error of 4 points, and yet here we've got a poll, 77,000 people, where Al Franken is the senator, okay? And in Minnesota, remember, this is where they elected Jesse Ventura. They're not going to be drones for a political party necessarily in Minnesota.
That's right.
And understand that Donald Trump is not only an independent, but he has a massive populist streak that appeals to blue-collar voters who are concerned about their jobs. So I look at this, and I'm surprised. I haven't seen anybody else saying that, but I looked at that, and it's like, you know, we've got all these other metrics besides the professional pollsters that I think point in that direction. I've seen some interesting things. Pull up this this picture here that I got of a friend from North Carolina, Jack Robinson, took a picture of the lines in North Carolina, and he says, not that bad. No one ever said making America great again would be easy. Look at the line at the North Carolina thing. You see that right here in the back, a massive line.
It's like a Trump rally.
Yeah. Another point that a friend in North Carolina made, Paul Chesser, he's got a news site called Carolina Plothound in North Carolina. He said, Planned Parenthood is trying to turn out black voters. And he's got a link to an article here talking about that. He says, maybe they would have had a lot more of them had they not murdered so many of them over the years. And of course, that's another message that is getting out to the black voters. And earlier today, when I talked about how black voters are going to be the downfall of Hillary Clinton, I pointed out a reference from a Harvard law record talking about why black North Carolinians are not showing up early to vote for Democrats. And they're saying Donald Trump was getting 30%, 29% of the black vote and 30% of the Latino vote in North Carolina. That is key. because Hillary Clinton needs to get virtually all of those two groups in order to win, because they are voting strictly on identity. In most cases, they're voting for the Democrat Party, but they're starting to wake up, especially in the South. You got a lot of black conservatives. I talked to a lot of them when I was in Washington, D.C. with the Danny Williams press conference. Right. Reverend Short, who's talking about that, and they are not happy with the party of Barack Obama, and a lot of people are tired of what they've seen. They understand that they've not benefited from this, that it's been a bad deal for them, and they're ready for a real change. Like Donald Trump said, why not give me a chance for a change?
Give them a chance. There's a major shift happening right now. I'm just nervous that, you know, Hillary she'll steal this thing and the mainstream media will back her up, but it's just not going to work anymore because, like we were talking earlier, social media is so huge right now. So we're not going to fall for the banana and the tailpipe.
And I think a lot of people are going to be upset about this. And there's already
regardless what happens, Hillary wins. A lot of people are going to be extremely upset. We know if Donald Trump wins, there's going to be riots in the street. They're going to burn down Chicago, what have you. So it's going to be a very, very interesting couple of days, probably a couple of weeks.
It is. And I think there is really going to be a move to impeach Hillary Clinton if she wins.
Yes.
So, we're going to take a quick break here. After the break, we have Wayne Madsen joining us to talk about his take on the election. And then at the top of the hour, none other than Lionel is going to be joining us, and we're going to talk about his take on the election. Should be very entertaining. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Thank you, Darren.
All right, thanks.
Thousands of years ago, there was a basic form of chivalry. Our ancestors would hear the drums of war, giving the warriors of the tribe a chance to organize and prepare a defense. 60 years ago, when foreign air forces were approaching filled with bombs, they had drums of their own, air raid sirens. But in the 21st century, there are silent weapons for quiet war. Pathogens added to the food and water, into the lining of plastics that destroy our vitality, turn off our hormones, and accelerate our journey towards death. I personally counter this onslaught with Anthroplex. Anthroplex is designed with known organic concentrated herbs to create the basic foundation to normal metabolic activity inside the human body. Discover why Anthroplex is turning so many heads today. It's time for us to take our bodies back into our own hands, and it starts at InfoWarsLife.com with Anthroplex. We're selling a product, DNA Force, that is the very best nutraceutical that we can produce. Dr. Group, you took years for you to develop DNA Force for us.
It's been something that I've been working on for a long time, Alex, because I think it's very, very important. What the aging process is when the cell replicates, we lose a little bit of our telomeres. Telomeres are the little cups on the end of our chromosomes.
And when it runs out, you start dying.
We chose the PQQ because it has over 175 different clinical trials. It's one of the most effective substances in the world. It works like an antioxidant. It works to repair nerve growth factor.
So this is a formula to deliver the maximum amount. It's in powder form.
We have so many 5-star reviews. I take this. This is the product that I take.
InfoWarsLife.com, and the profit we make, we fight the globals. We fight the New World Order. Secure your DNA Force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
InfoWars is proud to announce the official InfoWars Live app, available now for iPhone and Android. InfoWars Live allows you to watch a live, high-definition feed of The Alex Jones Show 24/7 and get the latest breaking InfoWars reports straight to your phone. Want to read the latest exclusives on InfoWars.com? Or do you want to catch up on world news? Now you can do so with InfoWars Live anywhere you go. You can browse the news, share content, and more. And best of all, it's free to download at InfoWars.com. The app is brand new. This is the first release release, and it was completely built from the ground up. We've seen example after example of cable news networks attempting to deceive you. In short, the mainstream media is being covertly manipulated by well-financed political forces who are trying to sway public opinion in a natural direction that only serves establishment agendas. But INFOWars Live is the solution to the controlled press that is rapidly losing influence. So download INFOWars Live today at INFOWars.com and learn what's really going on instead of being spoon-fed lies by the mainstream media.
Welcome back to our live coverage where I guess it's hour 31 of our 52-hour coverage of this historic election. Joining us now is Wayne Madsen of Wayne Madsen Reports, and I wanted to talk to Wayne. He's also an INFOWars contributing reporter. I wanted to talk to him about the FBI. I also wanted to talk to him about his take on the election. I think we're still, do we have Wayne on the line? I heard him say something. Wayne, can you hear me? Okay, we're still trying to get Wayne on the line. Again, you'll see some articles that we have up at INFOWars.com. Trump campaign files a lawsuit in Nevada over polling place hours, and we see the same thing happening now in Durham, North Carolina. Of course, Durham, North Carolina is a heavily Democrat area. They're now seeking to extend their voting by 90 minutes. The same thing was done in Nevada. And that is usually a case of somebody getting ready to stuff the ballots. Okay, we've seen that happen many times. I've seen this over and over again in my life where they delay the closing of the polls in large cities and heavily Democrat areas, and they wait for everybody else to essentially show their cards, and they stick in there what they needed to put in. It may be a lot more sophisticated than that now with the electronic voting. But joining us now is Wayne Madsen. Welcome, Wayne.
Hi, good to be with you.
Okay, give us your take on what's happening here in this crazy election. Of course, we've had in the last few days, we've had revelations that have changed from the FBI. We've seen this rope-a-dope. Do you think that is something that was deliberate from the start with James Comey, or do you think that he caved at the last minute to other pressure after maybe being pressured by people within the FBI that wanted to see justice done?
Well, I think ultimately James Comey's a political creature. He, of course, was a Justice Department prosecutor during the whole investigation of Whitewater. He was then in the Justice Department under Bush. He then left to go work as general counsel for Lockheed Martin, the largest defense contractor around, and also a major contributor to the Clinton Foundation. His brother is tied up with the same audit company that was auditing the books at the Clinton Foundation. And James Comey also was an advisor to the HSBC Bank, which again was a contributor to the Clinton Foundation.
Yeah, he was on the board of directors for HSBC.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, you know, this guy has,
one of the too big to jail banks, as Rolling Stones pointed out. They were caught multiple times for money laundering, and of course the Eric Holder Justice Department said, nah, that's all right. We're not going to send anybody to jail. We're not going to pull your bank charter. We're not even going to give you a very big fine. And that was when James Comey was on the board of directors. And then he gets rewarded by being brought into the Obama administration at the top of the FBI.
Yeah, you know, there's always been a schism between like the career FBI agents, you know, the field agents, the guys doing the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
And the political guys who are the director and the deputy director of the FBI. For example, this guy McCabe, whose wife got $700,000 when she ran for a state Senate seat in Virginia from Terry McAuliffe, one of the Clinton bagmen for many years. So, I mean, this is business as usual when you're talking about FBI directors or CIA directors. These are usually political acts.
But it was just amazing to me, going back to July, for him to lay out all these multiple felonies and then say, but we're not going to prosecute her, but don't you try this at home. It's essentially telling everybody we've got two systems of justice. One for the important people at the top and the one for the rest of you peons out there. So don't you try violating national security. We'll send you to jail for the rest of your life, but not Hillary Clinton. We won't even take her to court.
Yeah, and the Clintons have been getting away with that since, their days in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Oh, yeah.
They're the great evaders. And I think they're paying a price for that. I'm looking at early returns, especially from Indiana and Kentucky, where we're actually seeing numbers coming in. And I am quite surprised at the shellacking that Hillary Clinton's getting in eastern Kentucky, and there's a few counties reporting in from Indiana. I would have stated, of course, that with her feelings about the coal mining industry, she would take a beating in places like Kentucky. But I didn't think she'd take a beating to the point where Trump right now is winning 80, 81, 78%. And in some cases, Hillary Clinton is in the teens.
Wow.
Now, these are early returns, but what it tells me is